Coronation Street this week, you'll know that spiritualism is the big talking point. Could Ivy Tilsley really talk to her dead son, Brian? Does spiritualism work? For example, what do you make of this? We have with us Tina Laurent, who claims to have recorded thousands, literally thousands, Tina, of voices from beyond the grave, right?
Yes.
These are voices of ghosts and so forth. We're going to speak more about it later on. And you record it on equipment such as, what, normal tape recorders?
Yes. Yes.
And can you hear this stuff? Is this stuff audible to the naked ear?
No.
Right. Well, we're going to hear it now because it is...
Not at the time when it goes onto the tape.
But when you play it back on tape, which is exactly what we're going to do now. Is this really a voice from beyond the grave? What it actually says is it mutters, murder, murder, murder. We've put it together a few times for the sake of clarity so we can hear it. And it was recorded in Wales at an old pub. So here goes. Listen to this. Well, the question is, where did that voice come from? Perhaps you can enlighten us further, Tina.
Well, this voice was captured when I was asked to investigate some poltergeist activity in a very old pub. And in the cellar where this voice was captured, we were walking by a bricked-up part of the cellar which had never been explained, and the landlord was thinking that something devious had happened. And this voice, I have always understood it to be possibly the voice of a spirit who was murdered. And
right, we'll hear more from you and also more from your voices later on. You're a psychic medium. Apart from the lovely music in the background, can that happen?
Yes, it can. It actually happened to me. I was on a day out on a bus, looking forward to a museum that I was going to go and visit that afternoon, and I heard a voice speak to me, and he said, "That's my wife behind you." And I said, "Oh," and he said, "I've been dead just over a year, and I would like you just to say to my wife that I'm okay." And I said, "Well, I can't just say that." He said, "Oh, you must please tell her that I'm okay, and that my birthday's in January." So I thought, well, she's going to think I'm really stupid, me saying this to her. But I leant over the back seat and I said, "I know this is going to sound peculiar, but I have a message from your husband who tells me he died last year." And she said, "Oh, is that all he said?" I said, "No. He told me his birthday was in January, and I just got to tell you that he's okay." Well, the lady was in her mid-50s.
Was she happy to hear that?
And she said, "Yes," and she smiled, and she said, "Well, thank you very much," because she said, "My husband knew that he was dying of cancer, and before he passed, he told me that I was going to get a message from him in any way that he could. But," she said, "I never ever go to a church, and I've no intention of going to a church, but I was the medium in front of her on that bus."
Well, you made
and
her...
he got the message.
You made her day, Jenny,
I
I'll tell you
did.
that. Right, so we've got June Hill here. Now, June, you're head of religious studies at a Midland school. You know Jenny, but what convinced you that Jenny is for real?
Well, in a spirit of open cynicism, I went to see Jenny Bright. I'd heard about her, and very cynically, I was expecting the kind of stuff I'd seen on the movies about mediums, and to my amazement, she proceeded to give me some very, very personal details that could only mean something to me about a pair of cufflinks with initials on that the gentleman in question did not like because he did not like his full name. She also described his exact appearance. This was a very, very dear friend who had passed over, as they say in his 40s.
And she couldn't have just guessed all that stuff, it was...
Well, no, it was September 1987. I never met the lady before.
She must have had inside knowledge from the other side.
Well, I don't know where it came from. She did this thing, whatever.
Barbara Smoker, do you think that Jenny and people like her are frauds?
I think all mediums are frauds, yes. Some of them may have kidded themselves, in fact, but I think most of them must know they're frauds. And in any case, what trivia, this cufflinks. I mean, what does it matter? As if, you know, you're going to get messages from the dead, if they could give messages, which they obviously can't, and it's going to be about cufflinks. It's nonsense.
Well, it was obviously very important to the lady in question, the cufflinks. It was something, it wasn't trivial to you, was it?
Not at all. What are we to expect? I didn't know where the message came from, and I didn't expect intergalactic psychic, amazing revelations. I didn't know what to expect.
Well, I don't know
didn't
about
expect anything at all.
I don't know about intergalactic amazing revelations, but let's hear some more voices from beyond the grave. So prepare to steel yoursels for this. Backing into Tina Laurent, we heard from you at the beginning of the programme. We had that remarkable voice which was muttering murder, murder, murder in a Welsh pub. Now, there's plenty of murder in a Welsh pub. Let's listen to another message now. This one actually says there are spirits around us, and we've repeated it 6 times just so we can digest it properly, ladies and gentlemen, and also everyone at home. So, where did you actually record this one?
This was in a Civil War battleground in America.
Right. OK, let's hear it then. Listen carefully. Right. So, some people might say that's not that convincing, but if you do... If you do listen to it, it does say there are spirits around you. But you say you've recorded absolutely thousands of these things. What equipment do you use?
This.
Doesn't look that sophisticated.
It doesn't have to be sophisticated.
How did you start? How did you actually start recording voices from beyond the grave?
I started investigating the paranormal because of a very personal happening to me.
Yes.
And I settled upon EVP.
EVP being?
Electronic voice phenomena, which means that intelligible noises and voices are heard on magnetic recording tape, cassette or reel-to-reel.
Right, OK. By the way, if you do think it's a load of baloney or if you avidly agree with it, put your hand up, ladies and gentlemen. I want to use you as much as possible. Recording these voices, are they all ghosts that we're hearing?
No.
No?
No, not necessarily. We don't think... We think that we are told and we get to believe that these voices are emanating from many different places, many areas of existence.
Not just ghosts?
No, spirit worlds and space worlds.
So the people from outer space speaking to you as well. And do they...
Not outer space, just space worlds.
Sorry, right.
No.
But getting back to the equipment, do these ghosts have their own equipment? Are they like sort of radio hams from the other side? They're sitting there with...
Yes.
They are?
Yes. Some of them do, yeah. And
Are these ghostly radio equipment?
No,
things
no,
like
no.
that?
The voices which tend to come from the space worlds, which are worlds similar to ours, only interspersing with ours, different planes of existence, they are trying to communicate with us. They are building their equipment up the same way that we are.
They've got equipment, so they can change plugs in the other world as well, so that's
Yes.
the reassuring to know. Right, you've got some hands up back there.
Yeah. If these so-called spirits can speak to you, why do they bother saying things like to that lady about the cufflinks? I mean, why don't they say some worthwhile information that helps solve problems in the
Well, it
world?
wasn't that intelligible.
Worthwhile to me.
They
Coupling
do
was,
speak.
was
They
extremely...
do give proper information. There are hundreds of thousands of books from great minds that have passed over. Only I'm afraid that we don't get the airtime to reveal these stories to you, and that's not our fault.
Any other hands? Yes. Yeah, you with the white shirt. You, sir.
Excuse me, all I want to know is, I mean, if they can speak, why don't they speak to the actual person concerned that they want to speak to?
They do.
I mean,
Obviously
why,
haven't-
instead of going
have you
through
ever
somebody...
been to a mediumistic demonstration, either in a small spiritualist church or a huge theatre where the messages are coming through? Have you ever been?
No.
Well, then go and then come and
Well,
ask that
Stephen, this is
again.
quite interesting because, Stephen O'Brien, you are the natural successor to Doris Stokes. You're the country's top medium at the moment. First of all, I'd like to ask you, come back to the audience, please do keep contributing. Have you spoken to Doris since she passed away?
I've not spoken to her personally, but she has proved her survival before her cremation to a friend of mine, which happened several days after her brain operation. Her son Terry went in to see her laid to rest in the crematorium, and then a member of the royal family went in and paid their respects. And then my friend went in and said, although I know you're not in the body now, Doris, because you've left the body, he made remarks about the bruises on her hands where the tubes had been for the operation, and also she had scars and cuts at the back of her head and her hair had been pulled back out of the way. And he said to her mind, not her physical body, if you have survived and you want to make contact, then make contact privately, not publicly through the media and the press.
Right.
And he went home. And when he got home, there was a telephone call from the other end of London.
She wasn't shy of the media and press before she died, so
No.
it's strange that after she
No,
died.
no, not her, Nicky. The man said, don't do it through the media.
Okay.
You know, communication, despite the fact that a lot of your audience are giggling and laughing, we're talking about love here and people that you love that have passed over.
Well, how do you actually pick up messages yourself, Stephen?
Through the mind. Everything is picked up through the mind.
You hear voices in your head?
I hear sometimes within, sometimes without. But everything is a mind experience. It is here in this studio, it is in this physical life, and it is in the next world too.
Might you, in the next 20 minutes, hear messages? We've got a big audience here. Maybe people from the other side are speaking to them. Might you, in the next 20 minutes, be hearing messages for people?
We may very well do so, but feeling the feeling of the audience live in the studio with the irreverence here, I don't think we will.